The city of Joburg has warned its network has been hacked. As a result, several of its online systems, including its website, e-services and billing systems, have been shut down for 24 hours. The hack occurred yesterday at the same time that several banks also reported internet problems believed to be related to a cyber attack. Customers will not be able to transact on e-services or log queries at the call center. It's been reported the hackers demanded payment of 4 bitcoins by 5 p.m. on October the 28th, failing which they would upload all the data onto the internet. However, the city of Johannesburg has denied this.
The city can confirm that we do not have any formal demand for a ransom. What we know is that yes, the system was hacked, and we're doing everything in our power to make sure that the system is protected. What we did yesterday when we noticed that, because what happens is that the hacking happened at the user level, not at the application level as such. So the application level, that's where the critical data sits. Your information that is contained in the SAP, your account numbers for people that are paying rates and so forth. So that part had not been affected as yet. So when we noticed the user level being impacted, what we did, we shut down the system as a precautionary measure to protect the integrity of our data and make sure that critical information of customers is not compromised.
Well, for more on this story, I'm joined from our Cape Town studios by Charl van der Walt. He's a Chief Strategy Officer at Secure Data. Thanks very much for joining us. So, do you think it was prudent for the city of Johannesburg to shut down all its online services in light of what's happened?
Yeah, I would say I think that was a prudent move until they understand exactly what the depth and the breadth of the compromise is. Caution's probably the best route for them.
Do you, from what the gentleman was explaining, talking about how there was a hack at the user level and not the application level, are you quite confident that perhaps critical data wasn't, struck by the cyber hackers?
I think it's much too soon to speculate on that. I think we would have to give their forensic experts time to assess what the impact is.
Yes.
And await further information from them.
So, based on the little that we do know, what are your concerns about the kind of impact this will have had on the city of Johannesburg and ultimately its users?
Look, I think there's a grave privacy concern for the employees and for the customers. I think we have a right to have our data protected, and the implications of an attack like this is that information leaks out. We've seen these threat actors active against other companies in South Africa, and we've seen their information leaked. So there's a concern there. But I also think there's a broader concern about the ability of South African businesses, state-owned entities, and service providers like the municipalities to maintain the integrity of their systems. And I think that affects us as consumers, but also their ability to provide services to us.
So, Charl, what do you read into the city of Johannesburg telling us that they haven't received a formal ransom? There are rumors flying around about 4 bitcoins and all the rest of it. Why on earth would people go to the lengths that they have done, to hack a system if they're not going to follow through?
Yeah, look, it's very hard to know at this point. I've seen the same, the rumors that you have. I've seen the screenshots. They seem to be legitimate. There's no reason to believe that they were faked. But at this point, I think we have to take the city of Johannesburg at their word and give them time to process the situation and then hold them accountable to be transparent and clear with us.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's any value in rushing to conclusions at this point.
No, you're absolutely right. I'm a journalist, so I'll ask you the impossible questions sometimes. But in terms of, you spoke broadly about institutions in the country, SOEs and so on, perhaps not being fully ready for cyber attacks. Do you think that perhaps institutions in South Africa don't invest enough, or it's a situation where you can invest all you want, but at the end of the day, these guys are always one step ahead?
That's a nuanced question. I think there are segments of our society that invest very heavily and are very capable of countering these kinds of attacks, financial institutions, for example. But I think there are segments of our society that certainly are not investing enough. And I think, frankly, that starts at a government level where we need better policy, more guidance, more accountability for businesses who make mistakes. And I think if we fail to do that, we will start to see these kinds of incidents becoming more common. And I think we'll start to feel the economic impact of it.
Yes. And lastly, Charl, you know, we talk about institutions which probably do have the resources and need to better apply them to things like cyber protection. But what about, you know, small companies, you know, that have hundreds of customers, but at the end of the day, you know, the cost of trying to make sure that you have the right cyber protections, you know, they probably outweigh your revenue. So how do those type of companies deal with these threats?
Yeah, again, a nuanced question. I think there's some basic best practice that is not necessarily expensive, can be followed, it's readily available. So there is the practical possibility of defending yourself even as a small business. I think we should be getting more support from the government. This is a policing issue, it's a national infrastructure issue, so those small businesses should be better protected. But there's also a reality check. You know, if you want to do business on the internet, and your business model doesn't make provision for the cost of security, then, you know, maybe your business model also needs to be reviewed.
Yeah. All right, Charl, thank you very much for your time, sir, and your insights. That was Charl van der Walt. He's a Chief Strategy Officer at Secure Data.